Welcome back to Under the Sink Light. This is episode 8, Baked Berry Oatmeal. The first thing I did, since I'm using frozen berries, and I did weigh them to be 16 ounces, so the recipe says 2 cups. Technically this should be 16 ounces, but there's always some discrepancy. So I just weighed it out so that I could be sure. And then since they've kind of been in the freezer for a while, I rinsed them with cold water just to get some of the freezer burn off, and then I left them in a strainer because I didn't want to use any of the liquid that would come off of them when they thawed a little bit. So I just kind of let it drain and thaw while I got everything else ready, just like this. And then everything else, this time I actually did separate my dries and wets. So we're doing our dry mix first. It's 2.5 cups of oats. They can be old-fashioned, they can be quick oats like this, whatever you have. And I'm doing 5 scoops for 2.5 cups because I'm using a half a cup. Alright, and then we are going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I try and get it as level as possible with the little edge that it has in the can. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, but this amount can be totally up to you. If you don't like cinnamon, you can leave it out entirely. And then we're going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which was just like a small pinch amount, really. You can eyeball it, or if you want to measure it, that's totally up to you. And then I just give the dry ingredients a quick little toss, and then we're going to move on to getting the wet ingredients together. I should have said this at the beginning, but go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry. So liquid ingredients, we have 2 eggs, and don't mind my compost pitcher, but I keep the eggshells, and I wanted to keep them in a separate bowl, not my measuring cup, because I need to actually measure the other liquids, and if the lines aren't exact, then it's kind of more guesswork. So first thing in the measuring cup is 1 cup of Greek yogurt. I used the low-fat, just the Walmart brand, but if you have a brand that you like, go with that. You can also use different kinds of yogurt, like coconut yogurt if you prefer, but you don't want to probably add the water then. But anyway, it'll be 1/2 cup of water. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And you might have saw I grabbed another bottle. That was my honey. I went to microwave it because it's going to be a 1/4 cup of honey, or you can use maple syrup if you prefer. And then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce. And then here's that honey. I microwaved it, and then I actually ended up adding some hot water to the bottle to kind of get everything out of it. Mostly because I don't want to be wasteful, but also because I was kind of shy of a 1/4 cup. So I wanted to kind of make it stretch a little more than, you might have thought it would. And just as a note about the eggs, they can definitely be replaced maybe with a flaxseed egg or a chia seed egg or whatever substitute you prefer if you are substituting the yogurt. But there's also tons of vegan baked oatmeal recipes that maybe might work better. So I'm just combining the eggs to the other liquid ingredients now that I'm not measuring anymore. And then I'm just going to whisk those up until they are totally combined. While we're here mixing for a minute, I do want to add that you can add so much more to this oatmeal, like baked oatmeal, if you prefer like chocolate chips or nuts or coconut. This is just honestly the bare bones, but this is really a good recipe to make it what you will and kind of use up whatever you happen to have. There's really no pressure and it's super simple to throw together. So there's that 16 ounces of berries. You can see the liquid that drained out. I'm not going to put that in. I just figure it might still taste like freezer burn and I don't really want that. And then we add in all of the liquid ingredients, and then we're just going to mix it until it's all combined. And here's what it looks like all mixed together. And then I grabbed a 9x13 baking pan. You can do this in a 9x9 if you want, like a thicker bar, or you can do it even thinner if you want, but know that your bake times will be different. So I always line with parchment paper. Whatever your preferred method is, go with it. This is my tried and true. And then we're just going to dump it in the pan and then kind of press it into the corners and make sure that it's all even. So you just want to make sure to press it into the corners and break up maybe big piles of fruit or toppings, and then it goes in the oven. I baked mine for exactly 30 minutes. Honestly, it can use another 5 if you prefer. But there it is, kind of like an oatmeal pancake. Enjoy, and thank you for watching.